Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome to this lesson. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys the fundamentals to writing lyrics. Now, the whole reason why, learning how to write lyrics effectively is important is because lyrics, as well as the melody and the rhythm of what you do with your vocals, is essentially what's going to contribute to your success. So if you have the quality lyrics, which I'm going to give you the tools to be able to do that in this video, as well as really cool or desirable vocal material, then you will achieve success. Now you need to have unique lyrics, so like yourself, so do you know, and then you need to have like your own sort of style with what you do with like your vocal music. But the thing is, if you just be yourself, because nobody in this world has experienced the same things that you have, nobody thinks the way that you do, so when you write music it can't be the same as other people. It's when people have like an influence, say they like singer-songwriters, they see that this is what they do, and then they basically write songs that they would write an equivalent to what they do. But the problem is with that is that how many people are doing that? How many people have already are like squashed into that realm of like people who are famous doing singer-songwriters or pop music and stuff like that? Nobody's going to get anywhere now literally just doing the same things that have already been done so many times, and then there's so many other people then still trying to emulate that, trying to also then get famous doing that as well. How are you going to get seen? How are you going to get noticed? But if you do you have never been seen before. So if you do that, you will achieve success. But your actual quality of material needs to be good. So you need to have good melody and rhythmic ideas, and then good lyrics. And the lyrics is what we're going to look at today. So I've put here spreading your world, because I didn't want to put spreading your message, because as I say, everything that's in your head, you perceive things completely differently to everyone else. Nobody's the same. So anything that you write about, no matter what the lyrical theme, it's going to be what your existence is, how you see everything, your world, you know what I mean? So that's how important it is to make sure you do yourself, you know what I mean? So this is the learning objectives. To learn the advantages and disadvantages of lyrical writing techniques and strategies, because the thing is, all of these techniques that we're going to go over have advantages, but some things are better for other things, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, depending on what you're doing, something might not be very, like a certain technique might not be very suitable compared to a different technique. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both depending on what it is that you're doing. And then if you're actually in one of my classes, we would be putting this knowledge into actual practice, so actually having a go at using these techniques to write the lyrics, and then you'll basically develop and become better at writing lyrics through doing that. But obviously, since you're not actually in class, you don't have to actually do this, but you can do it whenever you want. You can write lyrics whenever you want, right? So rhyming patterns, right? Rhyming schemes are what makes your lyrics sound like music, instead of random words being spoken or sung. Rhymes provide resolution and flow which are pleasing to our ears. Now this thing here, because I'm saying that okay, it makes it sound like music instead of words being spoken, but here's how I'm actually going to sort of show that to you. So basically I have some lyrics from The Sound of Silence, right, and then I've sort of edited them a bit so that they don't have any rhymes. Here you can see that they have rhymes at the end of each line, right? And I'm going to speak this one first and then this one, right? So, hello darkness, my old harsh, I've come to talk with you today, because a vision softly escaping left its seeds whilst I was awake. It sounds like, maybe like some nice far out poetry or something, but it just sounds like I'm telling you stuff, because a vision softly escaping left its seeds whilst I was awake. It's like I'm sort of telling you a story instead of actually you know, like I'm actually talking to you in the same room as you, but here's the one with the rhymes. Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. It sort of like has like this nice sort of rolling effect that would sort of that would make you think, I think that would actually kind of suit being placed over some nice music. So this is examples of rhyming patterns. So, you know, I'm saying that, well, from what I've showed you so far, it's usually like the rhymes happen at the end of a line. So it's like there'll be a line, it will have a word at the end, and then at the end of the next line it will rhyme, right? So these are all the different types of patterns of that you can do. So it's like the first one is A. So what that means is this, the end of the first line will have the first initial rhyme, and because it's the first rhyme, it gets the letter A. I mean, it's like it's the first one of the alphabet. And then because the end of the next line has a word that rhymes with it, that one gets an A as well, because it matches it, right? So again, that's A. And then if the next line ends with the same, it gets an A. And then if the last one gets it, it gets an A as well, right? And then here you can, this is a different set of lyrics. That's one example. And then here's another one. So it's like, here's like a line of lyrics, right? It has ocean at the end, and then it rhymes with motion again, then open, and then explosion, right? Now a line of lyrics is about a bar of space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's one bar, it's 4 beats, right? So you'd have like one bar for a line, and then when you have 4 lines, it makes 4 bars, and then usually sections of songs are in multiples of 4, so like 4, 8, 12, 16. So then that's kind of why it's all in like sets of 4. So then you can sort of then at the end of like 4 lines, you can then go into like a different section or whatever. So then here is the next pattern. So it's A, B, B, right? So it's like you got the A, and then that rhymes with that A, so then that gets A as well. It's A's, right? That's A and A's, right? And then this salutation, right, doesn't rhyme with day. It's a new rhyme, right? But we've already got the A's, so then this is a new rhyme sort of scheme. Well, when you have 2 sort of like rhymes, it's called a couplet. So like this is like a new rhyming couplet compared to this one. So after A's, it goes to B's, right? So it's like, okay, salutation, so it's like A, and then there's a new one, so that goes to B, you know, A, and then B, right? And then that's another B here, because it rhymes with salutation and intimidation, right? So you got B, and then that one rhymes with B, so you get another B, just like how the second one here in the A is an A, because it rhymes with this first A here. So it's like A, new one, so B, and then that rhymes with the B, so it goes to B, right? And then here is the last one. It's like A, B, so it's like, okay, here's the first initial rhyme, so it's A, but then this one doesn't rhyme with it, so then that's B, right? That's the next one. But then that one rhymes with that first A again, so then that's A, basically saying that they're partnered up, right? And then after that, that one doesn't rhyme with this one, but it rhymes with that second B, so that's B as well. Just like here, it's like every time I hear the crack of a whip, my blood runs cold. I remember on the slave ship, right? So it's like these two are a match. So it's like A, you know, but then there was this one that was different, so that was B, but then this one rhymes with that one, so it goes back to A. And then how they brutalize the very soul after cold, so that's B after this A one. So yeah, that's that, and that's generally how it works. And the most common way to have like the flow from the rhymes is to have the words rhyme at the end, but we're gonna sort of go into like some more techniques and stuff. Now, advantages of all of these patterns, like, so when you use them, right, when you use these patterns, right, say you use like the first one, like where they all just rhyme together, right, your lyrics will resolve perfectly, turning your flow into something widely accepted. You know, you will literally sound like established music if you write your lyrics that do this, because it's like the same thing that everyone else is doing, which has been making millions of money, except it'll be your own words, it'll be your own song with the same quality that what they have, right? And then this one here, it's like all of these, they all like work perfectly good, which is what I'm saying. Like they provide a similar flow, consistency, like to this first one here, like this one and this one. So they came into the outway. It was a Sunday, but a black day. I could make a salutation, sounding heartbeats, intimidation. Like there was nothing wrong with that at all, right? But you just have this sort of variant where like something different happens, so it's just a bit more interesting. So you can sort of go to that if you want. Then this one again, it's good, but then it's just the fact that all the lines that come after each other don't rhyme with the one that's previous. So it's like with like the previous line. So this one sort of has like the most variation. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. Every time I hear the crack of a whip, my blood runs cold. I remember on the slave ship how they brutalised the very soul. So, you know, nothing didn't resolve. It all just sounds like, oh, that was perfect to my ears, right? That's why this stuff is good and why you pretty much need it. Instead of just speaking like words, like sentences, as if I'm just, you know, just like me talking to you right now. You don't have a backing track, you know, guitars, drums, bass, and then you just have me like talking a lesson over it. You have like rhymes and stuff, like lines of stuff with that rhyme. That's what's happening in vocals. But what I'm saying is that this ABAB one just sort of has this unique feature of how all the lines don't rhyme right after each other, and you can kind of hear that it has this sort of unique effect compared to the others. Every time I hear the crack of a whip, my blood runs cold. So it's like, you know, it's a bit more interesting. I remember on the slave ship how they brutalized the very soul. Like again, it's its own thing. So is this one, and so is this one, but they all sort of have this like sort of desirable sort of, I don't know, appealing effect, I would say. But disadvantages of these three common rhyme schemes. Now the thing is, because you have to rhyme the end of all these lines, right, it limits what you can say. I can say whatever I want right now because I don't have to rhyme what I'm saying, right? Now if you want to write, if you're feeling like you've got, say for example, like some emotional pain, and you want to write lyrics saying exactly, if you wanted to, like, say it's as if you wanted to tell somebody exactly how you felt in a song for some music, right, you're going to write it all down, and then you're going to find that it's not going to rhyme. So inevitably, right, your lyrics are going to have to be changed to some extent, whether it's like, because that's the thing, it's like, okay, even if it's just the last word that has to rhyme, if you can't think of any words that you can change your last word to without you having to change the whole line, then you're going to have to do it. And then because you're limited with your creativity, it's going to be even more difficult to be unique, essentially, right? So that's going to be an issue, because if you have to sort of use rhymes, and how many songs have been done before, how many lyrical things have been done before, it's going to be very difficult to write something that no one's seen, right? So it's like, well, like Michael Jackson, Prince and all that, it's like they're all like unique people, you know, they stand out, that's why they become famous. No one misstates someone else. Well, before like Michael Jackson was a thing, it's sort of like when he became big, it was only him. Nobody could like say, oh, you were like someone else, you know what I mean? Because they, like, he and other people had their own style, right? So anyway, so what tools do we have in order to help us write unique lyrics, right? So it's not just all the same sort of limitations of using these sort of rhyme schemes, right? So here's like the further rhyming patterns, right? Now this one, these X's basically mean lines that don't have rhymes, like they don't end with rhymes. So it's like the snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen, a kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen, right? So it's like, okay, that flows nice because it's got like the rhymes in it, and there wasn't really anything wrong with these, but they fundamentally don't rhyme. So that could just be written exactly how the composer intended it to be, and it was still fine. So it's like you can get away with breaking out of having rhymes all the time and still have it flow and then be like, yes, I wrote it exactly how I wanted it. Now this one here basically has the last line not rhyme with anything else, which what I like about it is it essentially lets you write the last line to say whatever you want, to sort of like leave the audience with like chills like in their bones, you know what I mean, like really sum up what you want to say, you know, no covering it up. I'm saying it exactly how I want to say it. I'll be watching you regardless of what this says. I don't have to change this to sort of water it down or make it sound not as effective as I want it to be. It can literally just be whatever you want it to be, the last line. But there's nothing wrong with this, because I mean it still flows perfectly fine. Every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. It sounds like music to me pretty much, right? You know, and all these songs, they all made money, right? I can tell you. Now this one here is sort of where, like, you know, you might just want a line where it's just whatever you want it to be. Again, this is all about creativity, and when you're sort of practicing writing lyrics for years and years and years, there's going to be tons of different things that you're going to come up with. And this is just to show that, you know, yeah, you can have a line in the middle that doesn't say anything to, well, the rhyme doesn't have anything to do with like the previous ones. So it's like, I would go through all this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same. That sounds perfect, and that didn't rhyme here. So it just sort of gives you like more allowances. You can do whatever you want. Now this one here is when nothing rhymes, right? But thing is, depending on how you sing the stuff, it might just work. And the thing is, like, you know how I say that lines are sort of like in four, like sets of four? Like here, like for example, her and better do rhyme, kinda, I'd say. But there's loads of lines in this song where it just doesn't rhyme at all, but it flows because there's sometimes rhymes within the lines, or like say like I remember in one of these sort of stanzas are what they're called, like 4 lines are called stanzas, right? In the previous stanza it said like this word, and then in the next one, this is Hey Jude by the Beatles, but the dude, he says better quite a lot of times, and he says like her in the previous one and then says it here again. So it's like there's always like rhymes coming in just to make sure that the flow's maintained, but he's pretty much saying whatever he wants to say. So yeah, that's that. So advantages of all of these. So here you can have 2 lines that where it's whatever you want it to be. You have increased lyrical and melodic freedom. Because what I want to say is, if you have a word, say like don't, won't, it's like the same thing, but if you go don't, feet, it's like, even if you sing it the same, like feet, don't, you can tell it's not the same thing, like it doesn't match. So it's kind of like, it sort of changes the music a bit. So it's sort of like when you have lines that don't rhyme, it's kind of, it sort of makes, it makes your music a bit more creative, but that doesn't matter unless it's good. But then that's where you get to decide what you want it to be and finalise it when you're happy with it. Now this one, like I say, you can have that last line, say whatever you want it to do, and then this one just allows you to have like a variable within it. So it's like you can have whatever you want for some sort of point. So this one, it's like you can literally do whatever you want, but the flow isn't going to sort itself, kind of thing. This is a bit of a bad example because that they do rhyme. I only just realised that, but because I'm going to go into sort of like imperfect rhymes and stuff like that, where things only kind of rhyme and things, and compared to some of those, they actually rhyme pretty well, because the thing is, they contain some of the same letters, which is why things rhyme. So I'm going to say that's a rhyme, but the thing is, that's still like only 2 out of the 4. So it's kind of like the same thing where you can have lines where it's like you can do whatever you want, but you just need to make sure the flow's all good. Right, so if you're having trouble writing lyrics, right, simply get stuff onto the page, right, no matter what it is. Literally just say anything. Like, so I'm just going to say some stuff like, I'm sitting at my desk right now, there's some work that I've got to do, I've got to keep on doing the same stuff, one day will it ever change? I just made that up right now, right? And you can have that written down and then change some of the words or manipulate it to change it to completely different lines or different rhymes and stuff like that. But the thing is, if you just sat there being like, I don't know what to write, then you're not ever going to get anywhere. You need to just have words to work with, which well, I'll get to it in a moment, because this thing down here, but yeah, so it's like you can just do whatever you want and then adjust stuff to your liking, right? And then yeah, once you've come up with just some lines, then think about what lyrical theme it could be put into. So if you actually have some lines of stuff, like what I just said could have been to do with maybe like sort of like emotional stress, like, oh, I've got like a boring life, I do the same thing every day and all this sort of stuff. Like, so it's kind of like emotional, depressing, whatever. So it's like, then you know what else it can be about, and then you sort of got an idea for the story, and then you can sort of carry on the verse with this sort of vibe. So it's sort of like, you know, I'm just within the rat race, too many people are money hungry, will there ever be salvation? I don't think it will be today, right? It's like, I've then just come up with another 4 lines just because I'm like, okay, I know what the theme's about, right? But here, I really like this one because, what, you know, some people can't do what it is that I'm doing right now, literally even just thinking of stuff on the spot. So it's like, what you can do is just, okay, so you need materials to work with, which is what I'm saying. So just take lines from other songs and then change them. So it does that first initial hard bit for you. You can take literally an entire song from someone else and just change like the last words and then maybe a few words within it. That's what I did at the start, where I had the sound of silence, where it's like this, and then I just changed some words. I could have changed that whole thing, just change it word by word by word by word, one word at a time. So it doesn't matter because it'll look nothing like someone else's lyrics. Unless you literally only change like one word in like the whole song, but you know, that's your deal, whatever. Yeah, because we literally had university assignments to like take the chords from one song and then like change it, and that's what that guy in the Beatles did as well. He didn't know how to write songs, so he'd learn other people's songs and then mess about with it and it'd be his own song by the time he's like manipulated it. Yeah, so it's like, once you have these lyrics changed and make it into your own, yeah. Right, now, if you're used to working with like rhymes and stuff, like if you are solely like full-on commercial pop driven where everything's in rhymes, and you have trouble, because what I'm saying is you would have like random stuff and then you need to change it so it rhymes and sounds good, but then it might be the opposite where you can only do the common rhymes and you want it to sound more unique. So it's like, okay, just get the usual generic stuff down that you'd usually think of or that you sort of comes to your mind because of your influence, and then change it so some of the lines don't rhyme. So then it becomes a bit more your own, a bit more unique, or a bit more sort of desirable, that isn't like the same stuff that we've always seen. Right, so tips on writing effective lyrics. So keep the theme of your song consistent. So it's like, yeah, like you can have songs where it's like a love song and then it says something about somebody getting shot or something, or somebody like stabs your girlfriend or something. It's like, yeah, that's fair enough because it's about the same theme, it's about this love story. But if I say like, dance, 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 everybody get up, and then, oh, I got beat up by 8 guys and it was some dark times, like if that was the next line following that dance line, it's like, what do you mean? Where did that come from? It's like just combining like 2 completely different things. So it's like, make sure that your theme is consistent. And that's what I was saying, sort of like, once you actually get some lines down and change them a bit and you're happy with them, you can sort of look at them and go, okay, what is this theme? And then once you know that, you then think, okay, now I know it's about emotional pain. you then know what to think about. So you think about your emotional pain, someone else's emotional pain, things you know about emotional pain, and then you then have other ideas of lines to write. That's sort of how that works. So the chorus is the peak of the song. So you want to try and, well, the thing is, the verse is where you provide the specific details, right? See, me and my friend had a kind of like a heated debate where he was saying the verse was the most important part of the song, and I was saying it was the chorus, which is an established thing. So he basically couldn't argue that, even if he thinks more stuff gets said in the verse, which it does, which is what is actually established in terms of a verse. A verse is where you tell the details, and then the chorus is where you summarize it. But he was then stating that, yeah, that's why the verse is the peak. But it's like, nah, you tell the story, all the details in the verses, and then the chorus sums it up. But it's sort of like, if you have, say, a love song, and then the verse, it would sort of have all the things that you'd feel about, that you want to write about, and then the chorus would just have like 4 lines, maybe of just like your best lines that you can think of to summarize the theme, because that's what the song's about, and this is the peak that's going to get repeated. It's like the conclusion. Just have like these best things that sort of, or like I say, just kind of summarizes it. Because it's kind of, because to come up with a good chorus and good lyrics and make it so it's this quintessential chorus can be quite difficult. But that's why I'd advise trying to just write something like, take your best bits and put it as the chorus, because it's going to be about the same theme, so it's going to work, and if it's of good quality, it should be good. And then all like the other details of the story, it's kind of like the verse is like the specific things, like you're telling a story about like how, something happened, like you woke up and then like your wife wasn't there, and then you went out to go find her and stuff like that. The chorus would just be then about how you feel about her, whereas the verses tell all the details. So that's like the summary of it, and the verse is all the story. Yeah, this one, like from here, make sure that the music of your vocals is good. That's not actually about writing effective lyrics, but it just goes with what I said before, like sort of like your lyrics isn't really going to mean much if the song isn't good, if the vocals isn't good, and that's your job. You're not the drummer, you're not the keyboard player, you're the, you can't help them, you can write that yourself, but if you're the vocalist, you're in charge of writing the melody and stuff for the vocals. So yeah, right, now here are like the other things that you can do in terms of like the rhymes to make it sort of good, like the other sort of techniques and things, and just sort of like these things are sort of like the rhyming terms and techniques and stuff. So perfect rhymes, is easy. Words that rhyme perfectly, right? This is what they're called, perfect rhymes, such as odds, gods, steed and need, right? Imperfect rhymes are words which don't rhyme perfectly, but they sound similar because they contain some of the same letters as sounds. So like weak and knees, so it's like, because like knee, weak, like as you say the word weak, right, it has this sort of like like right, knee, right? So during these times where you're saying the lines, and then as you come across these points in the words, that sort of resolution matching desirable effect will be there for the duration of how long you say these words for. So this is how you can always maintain that sort of lovely, pleasing effect to the ears, by even like sort of having words that sort of don't really rhyme, and then you pretty much have freedom to say whatever words you want, because a lot of words have the same letters in them, and they only need to sort of come into occurrence for like a split second, and then that sort of desirable effect is maintained. So just some more examples, like life, tonight. So it's like I, like tonight. So like for just that bit, like you actually get a rhyme, but it's just for a shorter amount of time than for like a whole word, which isn't really that much of a difference. So yeah, any more, storm, It's like the or. So that's a rhyme basically. So yeah, the significance of imperfect rhymes is so that the effect is still there, right? So here's like some other examples. Like you wouldn't think like palms and vomit have anything to do with each other, but because like for a part of it, just for a bit, you got like arm and arm, which is like the same thing, like arm, right? So you hear that effect when these words are rhymed, right? So this is internal and mosaic rhymes. So internal rhymes are using lyrical lines. Sorry, using rhymes. Yeah, so it's rhymes within the lines, right? So even if you have, say, like a word like me at the end of the first line, and then within the middle of the third line you have a word like destiny, which rhymes with me, it's going to maintain that flow, and you don't have to wait until the end of lines. And like I say, that then means you can have the ends of your lines not rhyming, because this desirable effect is still being maintained because there's rhymes just in other points. It doesn't have to be at the end. And to be honest, I don't really know why the end of lines are so emphasized for rhyming. But then when you actually, everyone will talk about, like, because that's why all these common rhyming patterns like AABB, ABAB are so spoken about and widely known about in lyric writing. It's like the basics. But you can just, it still has the same effect if you just do rhymes anywhere in the lines, right? So then it sort of means you have a bit more freedom. You can still sort of have that really nice effect. So it's like if you need to, it's like, oh, we're losing this effect. It sounds like we're just going off on one. We're just speaking words. Have a rhyme instantly at that moment in the middle of line 2, whatever, like middle of line 4, the start of line 4. It doesn't matter. Now mosaic rhymes, this is quite difficult to utilize, but once you know what it is, it's like you'll always know what it is, and you might come across it. But it's essentially just rhyming multiple words to rhyme with a word. So it's like mad but he rhymes with gravity, right? Back in again. It's like that. I mean, they will sort of have a sort of nice flow because they kind of match, but because they share like the same sort of letters, like back in again. It's kind of similar, but my point is, it then allows you to kind of create, like, synthesize more rhymes. So then you have even more possibilities of what you can do. Like if you need a rhyme, you can maybe change like the last few words to rhyme with something else. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't understand why he said mad but he seems to know a lot about gravity. So it's kind of like you've actually made some proper lyrics there, but you've literally just rhymed gravity somehow with like random words, you know what I mean? So that's what that is. So this is internal rhyme examples, so you can actually see examples of internal rhyming. So here's one in a single line. A singer in a smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. So it's like, yeah, you can have lines that have a rhyme within it, like no problem. Then here's one in an actual stanza, so like 4 lines. Near a cavern, across from a canyon, excavating for a mine, lived a miner 49er and his daughter Clementine. So like here, lived a miner 49er. It's like that sort of gives like some sort of groove to the piece where there wasn't otherwise. I mean, that specific lived a miner 49er, it's like that happens because of these rhymes happening sort of more frequently, or sort of occurring like there's a word and then there's a rhyme, because if you only have rhymes at the end, they only rhyme at the end. But if you have them sort of in various places, that has an effect on sort of the rhythm and sort of just the flow. Like I say, it will definitely do something to the notes as well. Now here is what can be possible with internal and imperfect rhymes. So it's kind of like we have rhymes at the end, rhymes in the middle, and then there's the different types of rhymes, like perfect rhymes, ones that rhyme perfectly, imperfect, ones that only rhyme for like, they still rhyme but only for not for the whole word, and then internal rhymes, which are ones that are within the lines, and then the mosaic ones where you combine syllables like words to rhyme with other things. So that's everything that there is, aside from all the tips that I sort of gave as well, like sort of, you can take sort of lines from other people and then edit them and stuff like that, so you have materials to work with. But yeah, so that's everything. And then this is an example of what's possible with internal and imperfect rhymes. So here are where there's a one colour, so say like the blue words, they all rhyme with each other, whether they're perfect or imperfect. So it's kind of like maybe like calm doesn't rhyme with bomb, but it's like calm, so bomb, calm. It does it, even if it's not perfect, it might just be a bit imperfect. And you have all these words rhyming within it, not just at the end. So it's like heavy, spaghetti, ready, forgetting. So it's like forget, like spaghetti. It's like it rhymes for a bit, and it's like there's so many rhymes, like, so, for rap, where it really, benefits this sort of absolute mad flow. This is really good, and a lot of people, that's how I found this example, because a lot of people reference this to show how many rhymes Eminem used, where the lyrics are actually still talking about something. Because that's the thing, you don't want to have just rhymes and and then you don't want to have like a story that's just you telling a story. It kind of needs to resolve, which was the purpose of having just rhymes at the end, so it turns it into music. But then you can also have stuff in the middle that sort of help you out and let you do other things. And then you have imperfect rhymes, so you have like more words that you can use that you wouldn't usually think rhyme, but they actually do, because they contain the same letters, like down and mouth, like ow, like mow. It rhymes, right? So even if you wouldn't think that at all. So yeah. And then this is just tips for rapping. So like, yeah, it's kind of like, some people would say lyrics full of rhymes are more valuable. Like, people just want to hear rhymes rather than quality lyrics. But Eminem, for example, is the biggest rapper, and he's gained his success doing both, because it's hard to do both, but that's where the practice comes in. It's kind of like being creative with the rhymes to make incredible musical material, but then having the added desirable effect of having great lyrics, because people like good lyrics where you hear something and it resonates with you and you really feel it. And then, you might say that to your friend that you really like this song because of like the story that it tells and the lyrics. People say, I really like the lyrics in this song. That's the thing. But then it's kind of like the rhymes will do the music, and as I say, the lyrics and the music, get them both good, and then that's your success. Now, start by just using the usual rhyme schemes, right? And then through practice, you'll be able to compose like sort of with more virtuosic sort of stuff. So it's kind of like you get better, essentially. So it's like, just get it so this stuff rhymes first, using like the general patterns, like A B B, like 4 A's, A B A B. And then you can, through practice, you will get better, where you will like have internal rhymes and imperfect rhymes and stuff. Yeah, and it's with your practice, and it's the same with writing lyrics in general. You have to write to practice to get better, and because you've written like 10 years worth of material, you're going to have all this stuff you've created that you can use, and use as material to write good songs. Like, take the best lines and then make songs out of them. And you want to practice to backing tracks. If you're writing for pop, you want to, a backing track is a backing track. But in rap, it's usually called beats. But that's still a rap backing track. It's still a backing track. But for pop, search like a pop backing track. for rap, search whatever kind of beat you want, and yeah, that is it. So it's like, yeah, have a go at writing stuff on your own. The most simplest sort of song that you can write is a verse, chorus, verse, chorus. So write all your lines, work on them and stuff like that, or you can practice first and then come back to writing it for real. And you can sort of try and write a song, and that will be like your verse when you start writing some stuff. Maybe just like 8 lines, 12 lines, whatever. I was going to say 4. That's what I was like. I mean, I know a verse that's just like 4 lines, and then it goes into the chorus. But then like sort of once you've got like lots of lines down and stuff from all your practicing as well, try and come up with like a chorus, and then that will just repeat with this. And also you can repeat a verse, because I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it has been done before. No Promises by Shane Ward, the verses are the same and the choruses are match. Like, so the first verse is the same as the second verse, first chorus the same as the second chorus. Yeah, this isn't for you guys. Right, so yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions and stuff like that. Yeah, because I'll reply in the comments. So thank you guys, take care, and God bless.